Imagine a dam, not a massive concrete hydroelectric structure, a small, ancient dam built into a hillside, channeling water from a mountain spring through a dry valley. As long as the dam holds, the valley below flourishes, crops grow, animals gather. Life organizes itself around the abundance. But this particular dam has a leak, small at first, barely noticeable. Then another, then another. The valley does not flood, it simply begins to dry, slowly, gradually. Until one day the man living in that valley wakes up and cannot remember what the flourishing felt like. That dam is your body. That leak is the habit you already know this video is about. The metaphor is ancient. The Taoists described it as Jing, the foundational essence from which vitality, mental clarity, and life force are derived. The Vedic tradition called it ojas. The Greek philosophers discussed the relationship between self-discipline and intellectual and physical power. The Roman Stoics practiced what they called continence as a foundation of masculine virtue. Every tradition, every culture, every era of serious masculine development arrived at the same observation independently. The man who preserves his vital force is a categorically different creature from the man who drains it. Today, we know why. The first real biological shift that happens when you stop the leak is in your zinc economy. Seminal fluid contains some of the highest concentrations of zinc found anywhere in the human body. Zinc is not a trace mineral in the casual sense. It is a master regulator. Zinc is not a trace mineral in the casual sense. It is a master regulator. It participates as a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, governs the conversion of testosterone to its more potent metabolites, regulates immune function, and is critical to neurological signal transmission. When you preserve that zinc rather than expelling it repeatedly, your body's entire enzymatic machinery runs at a different level. The subjective experience of restored zinc economy is described consistently by men who have made this change. Sharper thinking, faster recall, more stable mood, reduced brain fog, and a return of what they describe as mental edge. The quality of thinking that makes complex problems feel tractable rather than overwhelming. This is not supplemental zinc at work. This is the body's own zinc reserves being directed toward the enzymatic processes they were designed to fuel, instead of being repeatedly expelled at the cost of cognitive and physiological function. The second real biological shift is in your neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to form new connections, consolidate learning, and reorganize neural pathways is directly influenced by BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, sometimes called miracle grow for the brain. BDNF production is stimulated by testosterone and suppressed by the dopamine dysregulation that accompanies the depletion cycle. As retention extends and dopamine homeostasis restores, BDNF production increases. New neural pathways form more efficiently. Old destructive patterns dissolve more readily. You do not just think better, you become neurologically capable of genuine change. This is why men who begin retention alongside other positive disciplines, exercise, study, meditation, skill development, report accelerated progress in those other areas during the period of retention. Their brains are genuinely more plastic. The new habits are forming more efficiently. The old patterns are releasing more readily. The combination of elevated testosterone and stabilized dopamine creates a neurological environment that is maximally receptive to growth. Retention does not just free energy, it improves the biological machinery that converts effort into change. The third real biological shift is the one that touches the deepest and is the hardest to describe without sounding mystical, though it has a precise biological basis. As the depletion cycle stops and the body's resources begin to accumulate, the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, the master hormonal feedback loop governing masculine biology, recalibrates toward a higher set point. More luteinizing hormone, more testosterone, stronger receptor sensitivity. The body, reading its own preserved resources as a signal of abundance rather than scarcity, activates the biological program associated with high-status, resource-rich masculine function. That biological program, once active, expresses itself in every system. Your immune function strengthens, your inflammation markers decrease, your cardiovascular efficiency improves, your recovery time from physical exertion shortens. Your tolerance for stress without cortisol breakdown increases. Your entire body begins operating as though it is preparing for something important, because evolutionarily, that is exactly what the preserved vital force signals. Not depletion and recovery, not maintenance and survival, building and leading and creating. The body responds to its own signal and activates accordingly. The experience of this shift from the inside is often described as a feeling of coming back online, not the dramatic sensation of stimulation, the quiet, steady sensation of capacity, of being present in your own body in a way that had become unfamiliar, of waking in the morning with something resembling forward momentum rather than the gray reluctance of another day spent running on fumes. Men who experience this for the first time in years often describe it with an emotion that surprises them: grief, because they realize how long they have been operating below themselves. That grief is not a trap. It is a doorway. The man who feels it and understands what it means, that the diminished version he has inhabited was not inevitable, was not his natural state, was not the ceiling. That man has access to something powerful. The clarity that the path forward is worth the temporary discomfort of walking it. Grief, properly understood, is not looking backward. It is recognizing clearly enough what has been lost that you become serious about what can be recovered. The leak metaphor is useful because it implies a repair. Leaks are fixed, dams are restored, valleys flourish again. The timeline for the flourishing is not decades, it is weeks. Because the body is not starting from scratch when the leak stops. The biological machinery is intact. The production capacity is intact. The hormonal infrastructure is intact. It has simply been routing its output through the leak rather than through the channels that build. Close the leak and the channels fill. The valley begins to green within days. What fills first is your energy in the morning, before the aesthetic changes, before the social changes, before the relationship changes. The morning energy shifts. You begin to wake with something that precedes coffee, precedes motivation, precedes any external stimulus, a quiet readiness, a sense of resource, a felt knowledge that the day has material to work with. That morning feeling is the most reliable early indicator that the biological shift is happening. It is the dam beginning to hold and the valley beginning to receive. What fills next is your sensitivity to the world. One of the most common reports from men in early retention is an almost startling return of sensory and emotional depth. Color seems slightly more vivid. Music reaches further. Conversations carry more weight. This is the return of dopamine receptor sensitivity. The brain, deprived of its artificial stimulation, recalibrating to find genuine reward in genuine experience. The world did not become more beautiful. You became more capable of perceiving it. That capability was always there, suppressed beneath the numbing effect of the cycle. What fills last and most powerfully is your relationship with your own potential. The man running on depletion has a particular relationship with his own goals. He believes in them abstractly, but feels no genuine pull toward them. He writes them down and looks at them and feels nothing catch fire. He knows what he should be doing and does something else. This is not laziness. It is the neurobiology of a depleted reward system that cannot generate the forward pull toward long-horizon goals. As the system restores, the goals come alive, not as obligations, as invitations. Here is the shift that changes everything about how you relate to the work ahead. When your goals feel like invitations rather than obligations. When you move toward them because something genuine in you wants what they represent, rather than because you feel guilty about inaction. The quality of your effort changes completely. You stop forcing and start flowing. The work becomes engaging rather than draining. The progress compounds faster because you are no longer spending energy managing your own resistance. You are simply moving. The life force that has been leaking through the floor of your daily habit is not gone. It has not been destroyed. It is simply waiting to be redirected. Every quantity of vital energy that your body produces from this day forward can either flow outward through the familiar drain or inward through the systems that build you into the man you are capable of becoming. The choice is made once in principle and then defended daily in practice. The principle is the hard part. The practice is simply showing up for the man you decided to become. Think about the year ahead, not the year as you have experienced years recently, managed, endured, survived with flashes of something better. Think about a year in which the biological shifts we have described today compound quietly, week after week, month after month. Think about the man at the end of that year, clearer in mind, stronger in presence, more commanding in social reality, more alive in his own skin. That man is not hypothetical. He is the biological consequence of a decision you are making right now. The leak stops when you decide it stops. Not when the habit feels easy. It will feel hard for weeks. Not when the urge disappears. It may never disappear entirely. The leak stops when the decision to stop it is more real than the impulse to continue it. That decision, once made from a place of genuine understanding rather than temporary motivation, carries a different weight. It becomes a foundation you build on rather than a resolution you return to. That foundation is the beginning of everything. If this reached you today in a way that felt real, if the metaphor of the dam and the valley hit somewhere close to home, please take one moment to like this video. Share it with the man in your life who you know needs to hear it. Subscribe for more of this honest, grounded work. And if this genuinely moved you, please hit the thanks button. The leak stops today. The valley begins to green. And the man you are building, he is worth every day of the discipline it takes to build him.